Take it from me, a billionaire with Paganis and Bugattis and yes, and penthouses in the sky and homes all around the world, and a yacht and a private jet. The second you have everything you want, you're going to want something else. So you might as well get used to enjoying wanting things. In fact, one of the saddest days is when you realize you have everything you want and you lose that one day I hope to have. That's actually a fantastic feeling. That one day I hope to have, if I save up, maybe one day I'll get the feeling that you have right now. You need to enjoy it. Don't be mad that you don't have what you want. Because once you have everything you want and you're sitting there with millions and millions and millions of dollars, and there's nothing to buy, nothing excites you, you don't want to go shopping. You don't want to look at links on the internet. You don't want to dream. All of it's done. You have everything. It's boring. Once that happens, you miss the days where you'd sit and go, man, if I save up, I can get that BMW. Or man, if I work really hard, I can get a Lamborghini. Or that 2 million watch. Oh, that's life-changing for me. Once you have everything, then you sit around with all your money, and you think there's nothing to buy now but power. And that's why the rich people do what they do with politics, because there's not enough items on earth worth buying. So, you just try and buy power and buy control over other people. And that's where people's minds get warped. That's where the bad things begin to happen. But if you're at home right now and you have a dream car, a house, retiring your mother, a holiday, a boat, whatever it is, if you have a dream, enjoy the dream. Because the second that you have everything you've dreamt of, you're going to want something else. And even worse, once you've completed that cycle enough times, you're not going to want anything at all. And you're going to miss the days that you sat around like you're sitting right now, wanting stuff. There's some small mind hacks you can do that will change your entire perspective. And is changing I have to and do I get to. A lot of people are extremely stressed about things that they have to do. And because they have to do them, or they understand the importance of doing them, they forget that it's actually a blessing to do them in the first place. When I was a fighter and I had to go to the gym twice a day, like anything in life, once you're obligated, once you have to, a lot of the fun disappears. If you wake up and you're really busy and you think, I have to take the kids to school, I have to go to work, I have to take the car to be repaired. If you change, I have to do those three things, into I get to do those three things. The mentality around the actions change. I get to take the kids to school. A lot of people want kids and can't get them. There's a lot of kids who can't go to school. Aren't you lucky? I have to go to work. Well, you get to go to work. Imagine you didn't have a job. If you lost your job right now overnight and you had no income and you'd miss your job very much and you wish you had your job back, even something as annoying as a car, but I have to take the car to the mechanics. Well, at least you get to take the car to the mechanics. Imagine you didn't have a car. So next time you're sitting there looking at your day or looking at a list of things or jobs you have to complete, or you're stressed, or you're low on time, and all these things are happening. I have to do this. I got to get this done. I have to do this. I have to do this. Change the language. I get to do X, Y, Z. And I guarantee you'll feel better about the activities near instantly. I have learned the hard way that it is impossible to be grateful for things that you have in abundance. I'm stating the obvious here. Everyone talks about how if you were born a millionaire kid, you wouldn't appreciate money. It's absolutely the same with absolutely everything else. And no matter how hard you try, and check yourself, you're never going to appreciate it if you have an abundance. The easiest way to be grateful for your life and appreciate things is to self-censor. By reducing your time spent or money spent or energy spent on the things you like, not only do you become a more productive worker and you get more stuff done, but two, you appreciate those things more and you end up genuinely happier. On sunny days, I like driving my Lamborghini around. And sometimes when I really feel like driving it, I don't allow myself. I'll take a bike and I'll go pedal my bike instead, or I'll train extra hours in the gym, or I'll do some work. And the reason I do that is I deliberately prevent myself from doing something I want, so when I get back in that car, I appreciate it. Humans were never built for the abundance we live in today. We were designed to barely scrape enough calories from the surroundings to survive. We were not designed to be able to get food anytime we wanted. That's why people are fat. To get satisfaction, entertainment anytime we wanted. That's why people can't pay attention anymore. So you have two choices. You either cave to that completely and you give in to consumerism and you end up obese and have attention deficit disorder because you're too busy watching YouTube videos to concentrate on anything important, or you censor yourself and you prevent yourself from having as much as you want. And that's how you build an iron mindset. Now, I actually developed this and learned this tactic when I was fighting because fighting makes you censor yourself. So when my fight camp would be over, the idea of staying up late and eating ice cream was amazing. To most people, that's every hapeng day and they don't give a hapeng. When I did that after a fight camp, I was smiling ear to ear. I was also in better physical condition. And this is the exact point. If you restrict yourself from the things you want, not only do you enjoy them more in the end, not only do you end up happier, you usually end up in better physical and financial shape for it. Happiness and gratefulness are basically the same thing. If you're grateful for what you have, you're going to be a pretty happy person. The idea of being a robot, nothing affects me, that's not a good life. A good life is a happy person who, when the struggles of life come, they can just glide over the bumps. That's the kind of person you want to be. And you're going to do that by making yourself more grateful. And you make yourself more grateful through scarcity. And you will feel a whole new appreciation for the most basic thing in the world. A meal and a cold glass of water, I guarantee you. The idea being is you need to learn how to remember that feeling. Feelings can be remembered. If you listen to a sad song, the feeling comes back. People very rarely remember gratefulness. They don't remember feeling content with something. So, what you're going to do is you're going to put yourself in a position of stress. You're going to relieve that stress. You're going to feel content. And then you're going to try and remember that feeling. Remember that feeling and give yourself a memory that you can revert back to any time in the future. And you will automatically feel grateful. I can literally right now, I can think back to that time when I just lost 10 kilos and been in the sauna for 2 days and hadn't had a drop of water and lost all that weight. And then I had my first glass of water. I can remember that, and I'm smiling already literally because I've had these extreme situations, super extreme situations, whereas when they were relieved, I remember how thankful I was. Money is another fantastic thing to do this with. Right now, check your bank account. Hopefully you're broke. If you're broke, this will be really easy. Check your bank right now. When you get some money in your bank and you smile, remember that feeling. You can email me now after watching this video and tell me what you're going to do to put yourself in a position of stress. And then once you've relieved it, once you are sitting there and you're feeling content and happy, you need to remember that feeling. And I want you to email it to me and describe it to me. Now, this isn't going to work if you don't put yourself in a situation of extreme stress, and when you're on absolute edge, that's when you give in, because only then you'll be able to hack your brain to remember that memory. You need a plethora of memories in your mind that you can revert to that will instantly make you happy and grateful and feel gratitude for what you have. And that's genuinely the way I live my life. If I'm a happy person, but if I'm ever pissed off or really stressed or work ain't going right, and one of my girlfriends is being a dick and the electricity bill is $6,000 and whatever, I can sit there and go, yeah, but at least I'm not broke. And I can think about that exact memory and I will smile. And that's what you're going to learn to do next time you want to do something. Next time you want to watch a YouTube video or you want to do something stupid, go, no, I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Make yourself wait. And I want you to put yourself in a situation of extreme stress. Gentlemen, it has to be extreme. When you lay in bed after being that tired for that long and you feel completely you don't give a hang-da about anything else. You're so happy to just be in bed. Remember that feeling, cuz that's a memory you're going to be able to go back to anytime. So making sure that completing your goals makes your life better and more positive, makes you feel more happy, is certainly going to encourage you to set larger goals and to complete them. What I do when it comes to rewarding myself, because every single one of us needs to reward ourselves, is I very simply pin my rewards to an objective. So what people normally do is they go through life and they go, I feel like having an ice cream, and then they buy an ice cream. Even on such a small level, what they're saying is, I do what I want. I do what I feel like at the time. So even on a very, very small level, let's say I'm walking down the street and I feel like having an ice cream. I will sit and think, I really want an ice cream, but I'm not going to have one. Tomorrow I'm going to do X amount extra in the gym, extra set of bench press, just one extra. And tomorrow afternoon I'm going to have ice cream. You go to the gym, you do extra, you earn the ice cream, and then you know the crazy thing is the ice cream tastes better. And it's the same with absolutely everything. If I had some money in my bank and I decide to buy a Lambo, sure, it'd be a fun, happy day. But if I set myself a series of objectives I had to complete first, not even just to be able to afford the Lambo. Sure, you can say once I make X amount of money, I'm going to treat myself to this. But you can also pin to a bunch of other objectives. So I had the money for a Lambo, but I wouldn't allow myself to buy one until I completed other things. Gym is the one I use all the time. If I want to do something which I know is stupid, but makes me happy, like eat some bad food, buy something I shouldn't buy at Sierra, I make myself work for it. You to sit there and think even basic, junk food. I want to have a cheat day of junk food. To allow myself to have that cheat day of junk food on the 7th day of the week. On the 6 days of the week, I'm going to get up at 6:00. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to train for an hour and a half. I'm not going to leave the gym until 7:30. And unless you complete those 6 days, unless you complete the objectives, you're not going to give in and allow yourself to settle. It will be so much better once you've earned it. The greatest thing about this is the reward is actually better. Not only do you work harder, but the reward is so much better knowing you worked for it. All the hada, a thing you're doing anyway now without thinking. You go to a mall, you'll buy yourself something. You'll want it for 10 minutes. By the time you get home and take out the bag you don't want anymore, you're going to be a happier person when you look at something you want and go, all right, I'm going to come back and get that in 2 days. And in the next 2 days, I'm going to do X, and then you're going to get what you want. And you're going to be happier that you got the thing. And second thing is all these small little objectives, these small little missions you're setting yourself are going to compound. So this list of things you can already easily afford, you're going to write it out, and you're going to set an objective for each one. If right now you're thinking of going on holiday, you need to set an objective for clean that holiday. If you want to have a day of junk food, if you want to buy something cheap, etc. Second list is a list of things you cannot yet afford or things you do not yet have. And that's very easy because if you want a Ferrari, you write down Ferrari. Well, then you have to make the money for, don't you? You have 2 lists, things you can do right now, and you're going to delay gratification on purpose. So, you're going to train your mind to earn things with the first list. And the second list is obviously going to be all your life goals, all the things you're aiming to get. The first list is actually the most important. The second list is just going to be a general motivation. Everyone wants to have a Ferrari and a mansion. Of course, it's good to write those things down. You may never even get them. It's the reality of the world. But the first list is the most important because you're going to learn to delay gratification. You're going to learn to train yourself to make yourself work for the things you want, things you already can do. So people say to me often, how do you find the motivation to do this? It's like, well, if I don't do that, I won't allow myself to do it. Why? How do you find the motivation to do X? If I don't do X, I won't allow myself to do Y. Now, the most important thing about this list is also you need to write down all the times you fail. You need to go through your life over the next couple days and realize how often you actually give into your impulses. You're driving, you see McDonald's, or da fame McDonald's. You're watching TV, you want to watch Game of Thrones, Hado Fit. If you give in tons more than you realize, and if you actually be conscious about it, you'll realize, I want to watch a new series of Game of Thrones. That's effectively wasting my time. If I'm going to do that, I need to do X amount of work first. It should be very easy for you over the next couple days to look at all the times you give in to impulses and do things which your opponent wouldn't be doing. Your opponent would not waste time on Game of Thrones. You would not sit in a McDonald's drive-thru. So all the things your opponent wouldn't do over the next couple days, you can write down. You need to set an objective in front of each one. You also need to realize and need to keep track of how often you fail the objective. I couldn't sit there knowing I failed the task and give myself the reward. If I was supposed to go to the gym and I didn't go to the gym and I had the ice cream anyway, I wouldn't enjoy the ice cream because I'd feel guilty, which means the only way to do it is to complete the objective, and before you know it, you're going to have a shitload more work done than you could have ever imagined. What will happen when you truly implement this mindset is you'll start realizing, and you'll start noticing how much other people give in. And you'll also notice how it doesn't fulfill them whatsoever. They want the dessert. They eat the dessert. Are they happy afterwards, or they feel the same as you do? Except they've got a hard dal. Hey, stomach full of sugar, and you don't. This is the reality of the world. People buy hamfin they don't want, do hard dal that they don't even hard dal hang like doing, eat crap. They go, I really want that. And they eat, and they feel like kabafe afterwards. It's all asanin. When you truly implement this system, you're going to start noticing how easily others give in. And what it's going to start to do is it should motivate you further. When I'm walking to the mall and someone gives in, does some dumb hada pee they shouldn't do, it motivates me to make sure I'm never like that. People often say to me, oh, but Tate, you're lucky you're a kickboxer and you were talented. Yeah, I was talented. But I didn't find out I was talented until I was disciplined. If I wasn't disciplined enough to train, I would have never seen my talent. So, you don't get to discover anything about yourself. You don't get to discover anything about who you are as an individual, your spirit, your soul, what you're made of. Without discipline, you can't even discover anything. Discipline teaches you all about yourself. It teaches you what you really have. You know, there's a whole bunch of people out there that might be the best pianist in the world, but they've never had the discipline to learn piano. So, nobody knows. I make millions and millions of dollars, and people look at me and go, all the how. And I'm like, what do you mean how? Do the right things every day like you're supposed to on time every day. And life usually comes together. I really believe that. If you're disciplined and you have willpower, that can be applied to absolutely anything. I had willpower when I was playing chess. I had willpower when I was kickboxing to make sure I trained as hard as humanly possible to become a 4-time world champion. It's all about self-control and self-discipline and making sure that you are the center of your own universe. And a lot of people agree with this, and a lot of people say this, but it's very rare to meet someone who's serious about it. If you're truly serious about brute willpower, you could achieve anything. And the reason nobody has discipline anymore is because it's not taught. Discipline isn't taught. And we also live in a world where everything and everybody is vying for our attention. There's ads everywhere. YouTube happens quickly. Kids are being raised with iPads. Like when I was a kid or you were a kid, we had a coloring book. How do you think you're going to keep his attention as he grows old? He's been entertained by some of the best software developers in the world permanently. So your attention is very, very difficult. And that's what discipline is really. It's the ability to stay focused on one thing for a long period of time. Most people don't realize how bad their attention span is or how much discipline they lack until they really start to suffer from it. But as a man, if you don't have the ability to knuckle down and focus on something for a long time, life's going to punish you. And the reality of mastery and the reality of success is that it's not really a glamour story. Like, how do you become the best boxer in the world? You do the same thing over and over for 15 years. Like, it's boring. That's what discipline is. So the idea that a lot of people want to be constantly entertained, well, that's why you need discipline. People want to be constantly motivated. I train every single day and I'm never motivated. I've been training my whole life. I'm bored of it. But it's something that has to be done. So the idea of entertainment, the idea of motivation, these things are completely detrimental to discipline. I don't care. I don't care if you feel like doing X. You must do X or you will stay a loser. It's not the economy that's going to determine your next 6 years. It's your philosophy about labor and about activity, and then your ability to take action. All of that we call the process of life change, miracle working. See, a lot of people pretend that they want more out of life. But all you have to do is watch their actions. People who tell you, oh yeah, one day I want to have a restaurant. See, they're pretending they want to go into business for themselves. They're not serious. Watch what they're doing. The proof is in the pudding. Most people go through life quietly and safely tiptoeing to an early grade. Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. Why? Because it does.